Eversource, our primary responsibility is to our shareholders, which, as I've said before, we're making a lot of money for, yes. The only thing I listen to is the profit motive.
Are endless wars in the name of freedom, but in reality, for oil and fossil fuels, have beginning right here in Connecticut. It's time to stand up to the devastating system.
Divest UCONN! Divest UCONN!
Hello, my name is Stanley Heller. Welcome to The Struggle. On February 8th, Hartford was the scene of a well-attended and entertaining climate march. Its first stop was at Eversource headquarters. Eversource is the biggest electric power utility in the state of Connecticut. The demonstration began with street theater. A young man posed as an Eversource spokesperson.
I would like you to know that actually we have increased our consumer base, hundreds of thousands of new customers addicted to fracked gas. Yes, and we've extended pipelines by hundreds of miles. So the dirty, yes, boo to short pipelines, yay to long ones. That's right, I'm with you. So the fossil fuel infrastructure that we at Eversource are investing in and profiting from is here to stay. Hooray! Yes, thank you.
Dr. Frankenstein,
Yes.
Chris Bronson, the news.
Yes.
Just a couple of quick questions.
All right.
How do you respond to reports that you and Eversource have been shutting off power to vulnerable customers during this extremely cold winter weather?
Hold on, do I look like a man who would cut off power to poor people in the middle of winter during a global pandemic?
Yes, you do.
Well, first of all, I will assure you that I nor any executives here have shut off power. We have underlings who shut off the power at poor people's houses. We don't want to get our hands dirty. That's why I have these gloves. Keep the hands clean. And if poor people don't learn their lesson, they'll never stop being poor. Yes, boo to poverty. Love this crowd. Yes? Anything else?
Yes, another question.
Oh.
What about the climate chaos that you and Eversource are causing by prolonging our dependence on fossil fuels? Don't you feel that energy companies should be leading the way on transitioning us to a future of sustainable and renewable energy?
Oh, yes, see the crowd's on my side now. Listen, here at Energy Eversource, our primary responsibility is to our shareholders, which, as I've said before, we're making a lot of money for, yes. The only thing I listen to is the profit motive. Oh, hold on, what's that? Oh, it's the profit motive. They're calling and they said, oh, good job, you're rich, my friend. So there.
Final question, Dr. Frankenstein.
Better be final.
It will be. How do you respond to reports of a growing grassroots movement which is set to call out your lies and deception and pressure government officials to implement a fair energy policy and end our dependence on fossil fuels and the havoc they wreak?
My silly little man, they'll never stop us. Listen, in order for that to happen, citizens from this area would have to get together. They'd have to form some kind of a campaign and demand these things publicly. And I tell you, there's no chance that these people would come out of their houses, get together, and demand justice. It's just not going to happen. Or my name isn't Dr. Frankenstein. I mean, look at this town. They couldn't even chant if they wanted to.
They couldn't chant if they wanted to.
No, they couldn't.
Yeah, we could. Come on. Climate justice now!
Climate justice now! Climate justice now!
No, don't listen to me.
Climate justice now!
You're all
Climate justice now!
I'm getting
Climate justice now!
Now!
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 Climate justice now! Climate justice now! Climate justice now! Climate justice now! Climate justice now!
Climate justice now! To everyone here today, I'm so
CT Coalition for Environmental and Economic Justice. To the people in Connecticut here are freezing to death or dying of heat in summer due to Eversource policy of shutting off power for non-payment in any type of weather. I confirmed this week that they are shutting off consumers' power during the cold snap. Everything Eversource says is a lie.
Yes. Yep.
Eversource claims to want to decarbonize the energy economy. Well, that's a lie.
Yep.
They are actively fighting the move to electrification and planning to expand fracking gas infrastructure.
You say.
Fossil fuels have run their course. Pull the plug on Eversource.
The next stop was the Travelers Insurance Company building. When we show scenes of the march, you'll notice that many carried red umbrellas, the emblem of the Travelers Company.
You know, when your house is on fire, as our Earth literally is, from California to Siberia, the last thing that you want to do is pour additional fuel on it. And yet that is exactly the agenda of the fossil fuel industry. Although research shows our carbon budget cannot afford a single new piece of fossil fuel infrastructure, companies like Eversource are continuing to build new coal-fired power plants, tar sands pipelines, fracked gas wells, and other infrastructure. What does insurance have to do with this? Well, you can't drive a car or buy a house without insurance. And it's the same deal for fossil fuel companies. Every single new fossil fuel project needs adequate insurance to be built, and existing projects need insurance to continue operating. So that brings us to Travelers Insurance. We are currently outside the largest office of Travelers in the world. And they're clearly expecting us. Thank you for this nice caution tape decoration. Yeah, instead of taking caution in the face of the climate crisis, they're protecting themselves against activists. Those of us that are taking a stand against their greedy business practices. So for those of you that don't know, Travelers is a top 3 oil and gas insurer in the entire world. They also invest billions in fossil fuels. But I have some good news today. So thanks to all of our collective action and persistence, they are starting to move on climate. So just yesterday, the news broke that Travelers had adopted a policy that limited insurance for coal and tar sands projects and companies. Yeah. This is the direct result of all of you emailing and calling Travelers, marching outside this exact office, disrupting its annual golf tournament year after year. Yeah, can we make some noise for everyone that has been pushing Travelers?
Then on to the University of Connecticut branch in Hartford.
Very good.
He's pretty good. Hey, hey, what do you know? Fossil fuels have got to go.
You might know me from my charitable works fighting poverty, and I also run a few local orphanages. But right now I'm here to give you the opportunity of a lifetime. Are the bills piling up? Are you wondering how you're going to pay for tuition next semester? Everyone can use a little extra money in these hard times, and I am here to give you the opportunity of a lifetime. You should listen. Let me just tell you though, you should make your money the way that billionaires make their money, by investing in fossil fuel. That's right. If you're interested, talk to me. I can get you in on the ground floor. Are you interested, sir? Are you? Who's interested?
Climate action!
Hello everyone. So I'm a UCONN student. We're obviously right here at UCONN right now. Over at UCONN stores, I'm involved in Fridays for Future.
All right!
Yeah, and something we've been pushing for over there is divestment, which some of you might be familiar with. We've been in communication with the UCONN administration about divesting from fossil fuels, and even the military-industrial complex. And they haven't been transparent at all. We've got multiple emails from different board of trustees saying different things, and we demand transparency from the UCONN administration. And yeah, apart from that, we've been pushing for more sustainable efforts at UCONN. The board of trustees, there's multiple members with connections to the fossil fuel industry, the insurance industry, and reforming the university to make it a more equitable place in terms of leadership and structure. And with many universities around the country already having divested from fossil fuels, it's high time UCONN does the same. And moreover, with deep ties to corporations like Sikorsky and Electric Boat, UCONN also plays a central role in the destruction of our planet through imperialism. That's sure. Emitting more carbon dioxide than entire countries, the US military not only destroys our planet, it also powers US colonialism abroad. Our endless wars in the name of freedom, but in reality, for oil and fossil fuels, have beginnings right here in Connecticut. It's time to stand up to the devastating system.
Divest UCONN! Divest UCONN! Divest UCONN! Divest UCONN!
A man on stilts led the march to the DEEP building. DEEP stands for Department of Energy and Environmental Protection. He held a sign that said, "America is my country, the earth is my home."
Climate justice! Now! Climate justice! Now!
Well, everyone, my name is Kat Morris. I'm a scholar activist representing CT Equity Now and UCONN Collaborative Organizing.
Yeah.
Yay. Oh, okay. Yay, go UCO. And we're here today marching for climate action and environmental justice because we need stronger environmental justice laws in this state now.
Now!
We need climate education that centers environmental justice now. But I want to add that strengthening our laws is one of many steps we must take immediately. It's not the end of the road, but the first start to dismantling a system that has made certain communities disposable. The first to sacrifice. But we need to talk about the fact that that sacrifice is always a choice. People like myself from environmental justice communities like Bridgeport and New Haven and Hartford and Stamford and Waterbury, we deserve the right to live without the public health crisis that is polluting our air and our water and our soil. We deserve the right to live and thrive without the violence of systemic racism and poverty. Not only do we deserve it, but we demand it. I want to talk about the fact that people from environmental justice communities, our communities, across this state and across this country, are simply people. We are people with dreams. We are people with hopes.
and we're people with goals for the future. We're people who deserve to dream of a life where we aren't gasping for air. We deserve to have a say in what happens to our environment in our communities. We deserve to have peace of mind and to know that we are protected because our lives matter. Denying us what we deserve as people, denying us that right to thrive, is a denial of our humanity. And that denial represents the constant choice between environmental racism and environmental justice. It is a choice to approve and renew polluting facilities in our communities. There will never be an acceptable amount of pollution.
Do better, DEP!
It is a choice to continue investing in fossil fuel industries. It is a choice to deprioritize climate resilience in EJ communities. It is a choice to build schools in FEMA flood zones. It is a choice to go into our communities and tell us what's best for us rather than to listen to what we have to say.
The last stop was at the steps of the Capitol building.
Hi everyone, my name is Amelia Kearney. I'm a high school senior and a member of the Sunrise Connecticut leadership team, a youth-led organization focused on stopping climate change. I've been lucky enough to have lived in different parts of the U.S., and I've seen how climate change is affecting areas across the country. Last summer, I was camping near Salt Lake City, Utah, where the smoke from the wildfires was so dense you couldn't see the city from the surrounding mountains. A few years ago, I visited Lake Mead, where I could see the drastic drop in the water levels ingrained into the rock walls. And let's not forget the increasing storms we've been having here in Connecticut. These and other disasters are only going to become worse, and they will affect some communities more than others, leading to greater injustice and lack of equity. That is why climate justice is so important.
Yo soy Leticia Colonna Mejias. I'm a Latina, a mother, a grandmother, a neighbor, an employer, and a human that breathes air, drinks water, eats food, works to support my family, and needs shelter to survive. I'm certain, in fact, that we all need these things. Air, water, food, safe shelter, heat, light, and a way to afford these things. As a child, I was taught to stand for our freedoms, to stand for opportunities, for equal access, for a decent, respectable life. A life where we can take care of our families and build a future. To believe in something, to have hope and dreams. Climate change is trying to steal that from us all. Today I live with the realization that if we do not take action now, bold action, to help us avoid the worst of climate impacts, to create resilient communities, and to plan for a cleaner, safer tomorrow, there will not be enough of these simple necessities, air, water, food, safe shelter, or a way to sustain a livable future. Even sadder, the reality is that most people are uninformed on the true causes of climate change. They are unaware of what's coming, have no idea how to connect and participate in creating a safer future for us all, a livable future for our communities and our children. They are missing the opportunity to join us to act, to have these things, because they lack knowledge and information, and I don't think that's coincidence. Please, after this, remember, this is the start of the movement, not the end of the movement. It will take all of us. We must demand that our children and our families have the right to know the causes of climate change, how to act, how to participate, and our leaders need to know as well. Thank you.
We'll have news about another climate campaign later in the program. We're nearing 500 signers of the petition demanding justice for Omar Abdalmajeed As'ad. So far, justice seems very far away. There was an article in the Israeli paper Haaretz on February 11th. It noted that even though the military considers the incident serious and regrettable and a moral failure of the force, the most serious punishment being given is that the company and platoon commanders will have to wait 2 years for their next command posting. This for causing the death of a 78-year-old Palestinian American. The article talked about the battalion whose members killed As'ad. It's known for its brutality and loyalty not to the Israeli state, but to the settlers. And these are people who see all of Palestine belonging to Jews only, and who act, they think, in God's name and will do any kind of act of brutality under his guidance. It explained that many army leaders want to break up the battalion, but they are afraid of settler rabbis and the political pull of the settlers in the government. Please go to the Struggle site and sign the petition. Ukraine. Hopefully by the time you view this, the warfare over Ukraine will not have already started. Both Biden and Putin seem gung-ho. The Ukrainian president reports that because of Russian exercises, Ukrainian ships are unable to use the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. Biden refuses to make any compromise on the right to expand NATO. This is the homepage of Promoting Enduring Peace. In their lead article, they explain why they refused to endorse the No War with Russia statement of 100 groups like Answer, Code Pink, and UNAC. The main reason being that the statement did not call on Russia not to make war on Ukraine. It points to a better statement organized by the Ukraine Solidarity Campaign. See it at pepeace.org. A message from the charity Oxfam. We recently learned that the Biden administration is considering reinstating a designation of the Houthis in Yemen as a terrorist organization. Unfortunately, we've seen how this plays out, and it's deadly for Yemenis. This decision would cause an economic collapse in a country already experiencing a devastating humanitarian crisis. Oxfam is speaking out to save lives in Yemen, and your voice is key right now to influence the Biden administration. A few seconds of video from Democracy Now! On those Canadian truckers in Ottawa and on border crossings with the U.S.
Canadian truck drivers protesting COVID restrictions and vaccine mandates temporarily shut down traffic on a bridge linking Canada with the U.S. city of Detroit Tuesday. The action sparked concerns over supply chains for the auto industry if protests continue to grow. The mayor of Ottawa Sunday declared a state of emergency over the so-called Freedom Convoy, whose organizers have been linked to far-right and neo-Nazi movements. Meanwhile, plans for a similar convoy in the U.S. are being discussed on social media.
Some more details from the Toronto Globe and Mail. Marked by threats against journalists and lawmakers, the Freedom Convoy included a motley array of Western separatists, anti-vaxxers, conspiracy theorists, anti-Semites, Islamophobes, and other extremists. This wasn't a surprise to anyone who'd been paying attention. Several of the convoy organizers have a history of white nationalist and racist activism. Just wondering why the Canadian government has put up with this occupation and 24/7 horn blowing so patiently, especially since they know what happened on January 6th in 2021. And also wondering if the left had mounted a similar demonstration for anti-racism or anti-war, if the government would have been so patient.
In the occupied West Bank, Israeli forces have killed 3 Palestinians in the city of Nablus. Eyewitnesses said an Israeli soldier shot at their car after storming into the victim's neighborhood in a civilian vehicle. Gunshots were heard for over 1 straight minute. Rights groups condemned the attack. This is a Palestinian official speaking on Tuesday.
This is just another new crime and a new massacre. Nothing strange from the Israeli government. This is the true face of Israel. Forces, occupation, and settlers rule in Israel.
We've talked in previous programs about the large amount of global warming gases and dangerous chemical substances released by leaf blowers, lawn mowers, and other gas-powered lawn equipment. California is gradually getting rid of those machines by law. Here's another idea: going to governors, college presidents, school boards, and mayors and calling for them to replace gas-powered machines with electric power right now. See more about this at peace.org. That's our program for today. Hope you're going to be more active now that the COVID seems to be waning. Get out in the street and protest. I'm Stanley Heller for The Struggle.